Yo, this is Mike from Psychoframe, and you are watching Vulgar Display of Podcast.
Hi, and welcome to the Vulgar Display of Podcast live from the Barn Studio. You got the Mox, Anthony, Dale, and McVay down there. Got a full house.
Yeah.
And we had to have a full house for this one. We have Mike from Psychoframe on Zoom right now. Mike, how are you, man?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you for having me, brother.
Hey, us St. Louisans, we got to stick together.
Hell yes. Rep the Lou. Let's go.
Right?
I'm a transplant, but I am
Yeah.
one.
Originally from Indy, right? Or the Indy area?
Yeah.
When I think of it, I'm probably a lot older than you, but when I think of indie and metal and hardcore, Haste the Day is one of the first bands that kind of comes up in my mind.
Yes.
That's a hometown hero. I know like they played more and made more music after this, but I saw what was supposed to be their last show at the Marat Theater. It was them, A Plea for Purging, My Children, My Bride, and The Chariot.
Jesus.
And it was awesome.
Wow.
Thick show.
Yeah.
What did they mean? I don't know why this is a Haste the Day podcast, but what did they mean to the indie community and the hardcore community, metal community?
They were a big deal to me and my friends. So the thing is like indie does not have a lot of bands that break through. There have been plenty of awesome bands, like really good bands, but Haste the Day was, especially for that time period, like possibly our biggest in like, just like metalcore shit. So that was a big deal that they were calling it. And, other bands at the time that were doing it were like Gwen Stacy, The Contortionist is still like kind of in their early days at this time. So they're only just starting to like tour, break out, stuff like that. So Haste the Day was like, that was our metalcore band. That's what we had, and yeah, they were a big deal. So yeah, whenever they called it, it was kind of just like, okay, someone's got to keep this going. And we had a couple bands, but obviously time will tell. The Contortionist then became the band from indie.
I love that you bring up Gwen Stacy. I was in a band a long time ago, and we actually played with Gwen Stacy. I want to say it was like Franklin, Indiana or something.
Yeah, it was something outside.
The gear.
It was a venue upstairs, and we were carrying, it's when everybody had that 8x10 bass cab, and we were going it up the stairs as Gwen, or no, we were coming down and Gwen Stacy were going up.
Yeah.
In this little, staircase. So we're trying to manipulate this 8x10.
I know the venue you're talking about, especially because it's Franklin. I want to say it was the Rooftop. Was that what it was called? Shit, I don't know.
I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
I was a kind of a drinker back in them days.
I feel you. No, I know what venue you're talking about. I'm definitely getting the name wrong, but I know the venue that you're talking about. And yeah, that tracks. Like they would play in Franklin and stuff like that. When I was in high school, their bass player Brent, his mom was my teacher in high school.
Nice.
She was the newspaper teacher / director, and I was on yearbook. And so they had a shared space. So technically she wasn't my teacher, but like I'm just like there with her all the time. And so like whenever I like met her and realized, I was just like, holy shit, that's so cool. Cause like their bass player, Brent, that's like actual hometown hero where I lived. I'm like, he's the only one who made it kind of thing. So that was cool.
Yeah, and I would say the Midwest, just in general, right now, is really represented in the metal world, in the metal hardcore space,
Ohio.
right? A lot of Ohio, Indy,
A lot of Ohio.
Kentucky, right? And I just feel like it's a really good place for bands right now, and I think we're being represented in a good way. Would you agree?
Absolutely. I mean, like 10 years ago, or maybe even a little more, a little less, 10 years ago, we didn't have this. Like, you immediately say Ohio. Ohio is a big spot, whether you're talking Columbus, like the Cleveland area or Cincinnati, like there's awesome bands from these areas, and like not just a couple, like they're kind of in droves.
Yeah.
And St. Louis is doing really good. Indianapolis is doing amazing. Like they have an awesome community right now and really good bands. And like those things are just like the people at the helm are people that are in it for the love of the game. Like the people that are like running Indianapolis hardcore right now, like those guys were going to my band's shows, 8-10 years ago, like just as kids. And now they are at the front and they're like, no, we're bringing people here. And that spawns bands, and also just like it spawns interest in people coming to those places. Cause like Indianapolis is like, this is kind of the same for a lot of Midwestern cities. A million Midwesterners can say this tour never comes here kind of thing.
Yeah.
But like Indianapolis was another one of those. And now like that's a place where bands go to play. They aren't just, they don't just happen to be playing there. It's a place they go to play. So you have the same thing with Louisville. Like there's a lot of that going on in Michigan. I'm Midwest through and through. Like I love this shit. I'll never move away, kind of thing. Like I love the Midwest. So
Yes.
yeah. I'm born and raised, corn fed, whole thing.
Hey, us too. Hey, we're excited. Saturday, August 2nd. Speaking of St. Louis, you're going to be at Red Flag. Awesome venue. I'm sure you love it as well. Bound, Stick to Your Guns, Gates to Hell, another Midwestern band, and Psycho Frame. Doors are at 5:30. Shows at 6:30. And you're going to be back playing at Red Flag, which I know you guys have played before.
Yeah. So like I've played Red Flag before. Cool room, plenty big, that whole thing. Intimidatingly big before the show, when no one's in there and you're just like, damn. Like I gotta put a lot of bodies in here for this to, not kind of feel like shit. But no, I'm super excited for that. Like that whole tour is gonna be awesome. Obviously I live here, so like my family's coming and stuff. Which like, so when I said I was a transplant earlier, I moved to St. Louis because I was getting married to my wife. She's from the area, had a job offer around COVID time. And it was just kind of like, we're getting married. You have a job offer. You're from there. Your whole family's there. Like everything's obvious, right? So when I say my family's coming, I mean my in-laws and otherwise. So I'm like, yeah, now you guys have to watch me be this guy.
Yeah, they know you as one thing at the family barbecue, but then you're this other kind of thing.
Yeah. And I don't cuss around them or anything. Like it's like that, you know what I mean? So I get on stage and I'm like, "What's up, you fucking freaks?" And they're like, "Oh my God,
let's fucking go, motherfuckers."
Yeah.
Sorry, Mom.
Hey, it's a real exciting time because you also have the album coming out too. So when you're out on tour, the album will be coming out, right? July 25th. Salvation Laughs in the Face of a Grieving Mother, out on SharpTone Records. So
yep.
Exciting time for you guys, and I know you have some songs already released and a couple of music videos, and obviously you're probably excited to get the record out, but doing it while you're on tour, does that make it a little extra special?
It wasn't the plan actually that it was going to come out on the tour. At one point we were looking at a June release. At one point we were looking at an August release. We chose that date before we had the final dates for the tour, so it just kind of worked out. And like, that the album comes out day one of the tour. So like the second that tour starts, it's like the album's out, and, serendipitous. Sure. Like that's pretty cool. I'm just excited to be out playing on it. Like, we're introducing songs from the record into the set, singles are like kind of an obvious one, playing another song that's like a deeper cut on the record that we love and we hope goes over well, no, it's awesome. Like, and the fact that it's coming out on tour with Boundaries, like I'm close with that band. Like I've toured with them twice before in other bands, and like those are my friends, those are my guys. So like the fact that it's coming out on their tour, I'm like, yeah, this just makes perfect sense. Like their rise is like very meteoric right now too. Like they're doing awesome stuff. Like, dude, they just played with Killswitch. You know what I mean? Like did a run with Killswitch. Like they're crushing it right now. So I was like, yeah, we do this. This is kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah. That lineup is sick. I can't wait.
Lineup is sick. Every band on it is awesome live. Like, it's just a good show.
So we try not to get too caught up like in the genres here at the barn, but they are a thing. They do exist. And so when you guys first started writing music, was spin kick deathcore like the goal? Or did you guys just want to start making heavy shit and then that's what came out?
From the jump, it was about spin kick shit. Like, we wanted we grew up in the era when like deathcore was like, you could say like it was scary or whatever, but really what it was is deathcore like still was able to kind of like mingle and mesh with other bands from other subgenres, and it was like still seamless. Like this, like when we were getting into it, it's like this is around the time like, oh yeah, Recon is on tour and Whitechapel is one of the supports kind of thing. And like when I was a kid in Indianapolis, like I can remember like getting knocked out by big dudes while I'm a skinny little kid and I'm there to see, you know, I was seeing like Oceano or Suicide Silence at the Emerson kind of thing. And that was always like at the heart of what we were trying to go for from the first EP. So like even going into the album, it's like, dude, it's just that. Like, we're not throwing any curveballs or unexpected things. Like, we had just put out Black Wave 2 and, you know, it has like a mood ring feature on there. And I remember I'm on the internet, I read. So like I see comments where people are like, are they going to like have a singing thing? Like, is Hunter going to sing on this? And we were like, absolutely not. Like you have
made your identity. That's your identity is what you're saying.
Yeah. Our identity is we want violence and we want participation and we want people excited and involved. And we were just like, so yeah, we're just gonna make brutal shit and do our best at it.
Fuck yes. Love that answer. Thank you.
I would say mission accomplished on that, man. And I want to show. Oh yeah.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah. The portal. Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, and I can't wait to see how they translate live and the crowd response to that. But I want to shout out McVay down here. I want to say probably 2 years ago, in just right over there in the studio that we're at now. He's like, "Hey, have you ever heard of this band Psycho Frame?" And you know, we've been doing this podcast for 3 years now, so we're pretty in tune with the metal world and the hardcore world. I was like, "No, never heard of them." And McVay was like, "You got to listen to it." And he played it on the Alexa over there, and man, been fan ever since. So shout out McVay for that.
Hell yeah.
Spreading
shout out. Thank you, brother. I need people like you.
Well, they're out there, and I love what you guys are doing. You know, deathcore for me, and I'm going to speak personally here, it's one of my favorite genres because it mixes everything together. It's like the melting pot of metal and hardcore and death metal, and I love all of those. So, you know, to blend all those genres together, but I feel it can sometimes get tired. It can sometimes get oversaturated, and how you guys are pushing the limits of it. And I saw the Garza podcast interview, and he even said, you guys are making us older guys that have been in the game for a while want to up our game. And I definitely feel that. And I think you guys are doing that.
I mean, yeah, when he kind of gave us that cosign, you know, so that going into that podcast, that was my first time ever meeting Garza or like anyone from the band or anything. So like, getting like that kind of signature on us, it was huge. Like, cause again, like when I was going to shows, they were the ones on their come up and they were the ones who were like really putting the flag on the moon and being like, this is what this genre is. This is what we do. And like, you know, so like talking to a guy who is like proto deathcore, like this genre, like, and him being like, you know, like that makes us want to be better. Like that's it. That's like the biggest compliment anyone can give, you know, like, or a person who is exactly that guy, you know? So like, and I do agree, like the genre can like, it can kind of get like like exhausting, like a little, like with the like amount of bands and everything. And like, like I'm not gonna, like, I don't typically listen to deathcore on my own free time. You know what I mean? Like, that's not what any of us really do. So even when it came to like what we were trying to accomplish, like our biggest influences come from, well, like death metal, slam, and hardcore, the things that, kind of just created the genre in the first place. So like when we're in the lab, like our brains are thinking dying fetus or cryptopsy or extermination dismemberment or like waking the cadaver. Like we're going down that list, and that's where like we come from and what we're trying to do. So like it is awesome that like it translates and like resonates with people, because like for us, we were just like, this is what we're missing out of this thing. Like, so we just want to make what we want to hear. And it just kind of worked out.
Yes, it did. I would agree.
Being that next wave of those bands coming along, and like you saying, getting the cosign from people that helped create the genre, does responsibility come with that? Do you feel a sense of like a little bit more ownership of, there's a lot riding on this?
I think the biggest responsibility I feel from it is to like mainly do the band justice, and like and that translates really in just like trying to be like really good live and like trying to put on a good show, like for us, so that like we feel good and like we didn't like do something we weren't actually capable of. But also like the band hasn't been around for very long at all, only 2 years, and we only just went and did our first full tour just over a month ago. So like playing in front of people that were expecting this band to come and wanted this band to come and play so bad, my responsibility more so feels like I need to give them what they want and what they expect, and something truly good that like we're proud of, kind of thing, and that they walk away from and they're like, that was fucking beast, or some shit like that. Like that is where I think the biggest responsibility lies in. Like I don't really feel any responsibility about like a wave of something or anything like that. Like I feel like we just kind of ended up in the right place at the right time doing what we wanted to do, and it just resonated. But because it resonated, I'm like, I'm gonna do my absolute best to do right by you people and try and make this a really good time and like show appreciation and gratitude where I can.
When I saw you guys' social media post about psycho frame tattoos, and
Yeah.
people out there getting it on their skin, what kind of feeling comes with that? Because that's obviously lifelong, and that's how much they think of your band. And what you're talking about is, you guys haven't been around all that long in compared to some of the other bands. What does something like that mean to you?
A lot. Like the logo is cool. I love the logo. I never thought that someone was just going to take the band's logo and make a tattoo on themselves for it, because like there's a million band tattoos to go around, right? But typically someone's like, here's my like little spin on it. Like I got this with these lyrics next to it because it's what it means to me, things like that. How often do you see a fucking logo? Like you're just like, bam, these motherfuckers. Like that's crazy. Like, and like, I do recognize the commitment and like how down people are. And like that post about tattoos is more so kind of just like, I don't know, just like celebrating like the commitment like people have to this band and like how much they love it. And I've said to the guys, like, since the band started or ever first started gaining traction, I was like, I don't really care about like how big this thing gets, because it wasn't made with the intention of it being taken like super seriously. But I just cared like if the people that are down for us, like they're down as fuck. And like, and that happened, like, and that still happens. And Like, I'm just grateful for that shit. Like, I didn't intend for it. And like the fact that anyone is like so invested is like, it's huge. And, we meet those people, all the time when we're playing. Like, they come up to the merch table and like, they show me their tattoo. We do a pic. I, yap it up with them a bit. Like, it's great.
Expect a lot of that at Red Flag,
Yeah, we'll
whatever.
be up there yapping it up with you as well.
Yeah, I'll be chilling. It's just us, we don't have like crew or anything. So like we're the ones at the table. We're the ones, slinging shirts, dripping sweat right after we played and everything. Like we're there. And that's an aspect that like we like. Like I don't want to like kind of get rid of that like in general, but yeah, it's awesome.
So just that like accessibility, I guess, because I've been I've been a music fan all my life, and I've met my favorite bands at times, and it just, years later and sometimes decades later, it still means so much to me, and it actually makes me appreciate them even more as an artist or as a band. So that accessibility, it sounds like, is important to you.
It is because like where a lot of the guys come from is hardcore, and in hardcore, like if there's someone like working merch or whatever, like one of their homies, like that's like, yeah, they're there doing their job or whatever, but like no one from the bands like ever are like hiding off in a bus somewhere, or like they're not like part of the show. Like that's kind of the thing, is like you are part of the show whether you're playing or not, and like you're around, and like it's just community shit, like, and that is like like a very big thing to us, is like the community within the band. Like, so I make a point to be like, yeah, I'm accessible. Like you can talk to me. Like I am just a fucking guy, like I'm not shit. Like, so that is important to me. And that's what I want the band to kind of do forever if we can.
How's the relationship, and how did it kind of formulate with SharpTone to release this record?
So we were talking to SharpTone like even after we put out our first EP. They had reached out, and we were still like very much like, we're not really trying to like, again, take this super seriously. Like the first EP like got some traction, and like people were excited about it and everything, but we were just like kind of just want to keep doing our own thing. Like haven't even played a show yet at this point. It just feels fast to all of a sudden be like, oh, here comes a record deal. Let's go ahead and do this thing. Like the blueprint was kind of just like, yeah, we're going to put out an EP. We'll put out, then the plan is better EP, and then we'll go from there. And that's exactly what we did. So like the conversation with SharpTone kind of like went dry for a little bit, and that was more so on our end, because we were just like, we're just going to do our own thing, like, and we're going to do it ourselves, and it's still cool, and it's still small kind of thing. And then after that second EP came out, we did some shows, stuff like that. After we finished the Dying Fetus run is when they came back, and they were like, we're still interested. So we talked and we made it happen. And at that point, after Dying Fetus, that's when we were hungry for the band. So we were just like, yeah, let's fucking do it. Let's balls to the wall, like full send the thing.
Let's get into this album a little bit. Salvation Laughs in the Face of a Grieving Mother. Can you talk about the title? And you don't have to share anything. Obviously, you don't want to, but is it coming from a personal place, or talk about the title?
Salvation Laughs in the Face of a Grieving Mother is a mouthful, but also, so it's based from a lyric in the second to last track, which I guess we could just kind of pseudo call it the title track. And to be honest, it didn't really come from much of anything. Like when we're writing in the studio, what the album ends up being called usually ends up being one of the last things that we ever do. Which is unfortunate because honestly, if you come in with a name in mind, that's way easier. But yeah, we were just like trying to figure out what we think the album was going to be called. There was a notes app full of like 15 different names, and we were just like, what reads the best? What sound, like what phonetically feels the best? Like what feels like it kind of encapsulates this thing. And that one, despite being quite a fucking mouthful, we were just like, I think this is it. Like something about it just feels like, damn, like, you know, and that's kind of, that's all I got really. Just like, we just wanted something that someone would read and just be like, okay, what's he talking about? You know?
We was talking with Devin from the blog about that. The titles from like early 2000s were just like a mile long and it always stuck with you, and like metalcore and deathcore scenes.
Yeah, and that's why I bring it up, because it's a bit unsettling, right? Because even that thought can kind of give you an unsettling feeling, and I think some of the themes and some of the lyrics on some of these songs seems that way too. Like Blueprints for Idle Genocide. I'm gonna quote you here. It's a song about bad actors in the community. Gosh.
Words.
Me too, man.
I talk a lot. I see people moving in weird ways, so I'll keep my distance and let God sort them out while I do my thing. And yeah, so talk about maybe some of the themes that are in this record.
So, I mean, yeah, with that song, like, you know, I said it as plainly as I could have because, like, excuse me. I said it as plain as I could have because I felt like the lyrics kind of did the job, like, and the title kind of did the job. And I was just like, we'll just get that out there. And, you know, I do the song quote, like it's, you know, it's about bad actors and stuff. Like, we do this for the love of the game. And most good things in the world are made by people that do it for the love of the game. And then like maybe something comes of it, you know, whatever. I am not a salesman, or do I want to like sell people like things or whatever. So like, and there are people that do, you know, and they are, you know, people in bands or whatever. And like, it's just money. It's just business for them and everything. Or maybe even have a more sour attitude than that. And this was just to be like, yo, we just do this for the love of the game. Like, we're just making what we want, like, fuck the rest kind of thing. Like, that's it. And like other songs on the record, like, I mean, we talk about all kinds of shit. Like, there's one song, not a single, and I mentioned this in the Garza podcast, but I just think it's the funniest one. Is the song Apocalypse Through Lysergic Possession, and it's about a Satanist that gets really high on mushrooms and decides he's going to make a bomb to bomb the Church of Scientology. And when that was brought to the table, I was just like, let's run that, I guess.
Like I said, that sounds like a South Park episode.
So it is, I found out. And Dave's the one who wrote the song. And the fact that Dave did that, that's like, it's kind of like that Family Guy episode where Brian is like trying to like show people his idea for a movie. And Stewie's just like, bro, that's just, I forget what movie it was. I think it was like Desert Eagle or something ridiculous. He's like, it's just that movie. And I think Dave did that here, and none of us noticed, but we were just like, it bangs, like it does the things that we like, you know? So, but there's other stuff too. Like, you know, there's some like serious like shit. Like the fifth song on the record is like a song about like sobriety. Like it's, you know, it's almost like a hidden straight edge song. And, you know, that's really only for like me and Coulter, because like we don't do any, like we don't drink, we got nothing going on, and like we like take it super seriously, or or like Black Wave 2. Like Black Wave 2 is like it very much like a political song and just kind of my take on it. And stuff that in like 3.5 minutes or whatever. And it was about a very particular guy who showed up in U.S. government from tech that shouldn't be around and walks around with his son as a meat shield these days after the United CEO got killed.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Well, what about the 8th track on the record, Filet and Fucked Shit Out of Luck?
Yeah.
Bars. Always got bars.
Yeah, it's just you're fucking dead. That's it. Like that's it.
Yeah.
Nice.
And we got God is Busy and Inverted Spear of Heaven. So sounds like you're pushing it, man. I love it.
Yeah.
Fucking A.
We're just all like when it comes to any of these songs or like what they're about, like doing a deathcore band is funny because like there's got to be millions of songs about like killing people or whatever, and like that the angle that we take is like the majority of the stuff that we're doing comes from like a place of comedy. So like when we're writing shit and like laying it out. So okay, in Black Wave 2, at the end, you can listen, you can hear it if you listen, but there's a laugh track happening under a breakdown because I was like scratching the track, which just looks like I'm in headphones, the music is playing, I'm just speaking like this goes here and then we do this and blah blah blah, stuff like that. But I'm saying the words because I'm like, this is what I got, here's the song, this is kind of the idea. And I hit the line and I said, we have your son and he's running out of luck. And then the breakdown hits and the next word is guns. and like everyone just like in the room just started laughing. We stopped recording that whole thing, but the laugh made it onto the scratch track and we were like, leave it there. It's fucking hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
Psycho Frame, Salvation Laughs in the Face of a Grieving Mother, July 25th with SharpTone. We got a couple videos out, blueprints for the Idol Genocide and the Portal, and then the Visualizer for Black Wave 2, Saturday, August 2nd at Red Flag in St. Louis. Boundary, Stick to Your Guns, Gates to Hell, Psycho Frame. Love that video.
Oh my gosh. That
Killer.
Gates
Killer
to
bill.
hell.
Once again, shout out to the boy McVay for putting us up
Hell
on
yeah.
game. Psycho Frame, you got
Guy's a
anything?
pivotal man for real.
Yeah.
You're my dog.
Yeah. This is Peeps right here. So we'll see you.
Question, after the band and John parted ways, was Coulter somebody you guys were friends with? Did he reach out or?
So when we reached out to Coulter, I didn't know Coulter prior. Hunter did though, because Coulter's other band that he, it didn't even really exist. They didn't have anything out, but he was getting ready to put out the first Killing of a Sacred Deer EP. And he had come to them to be like, hey, I want you guys to like do some mastering work on it. And then him and Hunter started talking. We were like, yeah, John's leaving the band. Like, do you know somebody? Like, because we've been kind of racking our brain because John like was very integral to like helping shape like the vision of like what we were trying to do. And with him leaving the band, he's a fire vocalist too. But with him leaving the band, we were just like, okay, we have to have someone like help fill his shoes. And stylistically, we just have no idea. So we reached out to Coulter and asked him if he knew people. And he started helping us try and find someone to replace John in the band. And after cycling through like 3 different people, he said, fuck it, I'll throw my hat in the ring. And we had no idea he was even interested. You were just kind of poking his brain, seeing if he knew anyone. And we just kind of like meshed immediately and like started going. So like my first time ever meeting Coulter in person was to start tracking the double single for Feed. And, we spent like a week hanging out together, like writing, recording, chilling. And like it all just kind of made sense. and that's my bro. Like, I love him. And then, we're talking whatever. He and I have the same birthday, but like to the day. Like, he's exactly as old as I am, kind of thing. And I was like, bro, you are my long lost twin.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, man. I got a little worried because I'm a stickler when it comes to new music, and then you guys popped up, and then I heard that I was like, motherfucker, and then you guys dropped that double single. I was like, nope, we're good. I sent it to I was like, we're good.
Yeah, we're safe. We made it through, and like that was again, it like we took it like, we were just like, fuck, we have to figure out someone that can like fill his shoes and be able to be this guy in the band, and like, yeah, it was the perfect fit. There's no one else, kind of thing.
Yep. And then like Jay, so we got coverage for that Dying Fetus show. Anthony was just bringing it up, and you guys opened. It was like Creator, 200 Stab Wounds, you guys, and Dying Fetus. Oh my God, at Delmar Hall.
Yeah, after you guys got off stage, all right, I was like, see, I told you. I was like, you guys ready to leave? We're good. Yeah.
Because I like worked that day.
Dying Fetus.
Yeah.
I worked that day and then had work the next morning. I was like, all right, I'm going to come up like second, third band. We were homies with 200 Stab Wounds. It's like, I'll catch them and then head out. And then Jason was like, no, dude, you have to get it for Psycho Frame. And thank God we did. So y'all
That's
really
awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I actually talked to a few of you guys that night, man. You guys are really down to earth.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, for real.
We're chillers, man. Like, that's like first and foremost what we're doing is we're just chilling. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, and bringing up the Garza podcast interview again, I love what you said about, you went out on tour with Body Snatcher and Spite, and that's a sound that's pretty similar to what you guys do. But the riskier move, and actually I think the more rewarding tour, or however you might have described it, was when you went out with Dying Fetus, because that's a little bit of a risky move, right? Where you got some old heads in the house and you got some OG death metal heads in the house, and they can sometimes be old, and not accepting of new bands and new styles. But it sounded like the response was just, much greater than anything else.
And it was like, I remember when we were in Des Moines on that run, and we had already played, and so had all the other support bands. So 200 is already played at this point, and like Dying Fetus is about to go up, and this older guy, he's probably like 50 something. So like, he's got some time on me for sure. And he dabbed me up and he was like, that was an amazing show. Probably best of the night until this, like, cause Dying Fetus is about to go on. And I was like, I back that, to be honest. So I appreciate you. And I'm just like, yeah, we didn't encounter any of like, I don't know, like the negativity that like I thought was possible. And like, that was relieving, but also like affirming as well. And I was like, okay, like we might be like a good band, like I was like, if we overcame this hurdle, like we might be onto something a little bit. And like, yeah, that you are right. Like that was like the riskier, like scarier one to us, because like we start at Dying Fetus, like that is like the blueprint to us as a band. And for them to just, be down to have us out for a little bit and like, shit like that, we were just like, oh my God, okay, we're doing the thing that like we said, like, oh, it'd be really cool if we did this one day. And it's one of the first things we ever did. And it went over so well. And that's where the hunger for this band to like be like, we're gonna tour, we're gonna do this for real kind of thing. That's when it really set in.
The takeaway from that, does that affect future decisions, knowing that something that you might have expected turns out differently than what you expected? Do you kind of keep that in the back of your mind when you get offered certain things? Because I mean, it sounds like you guys sort of just kind of take it as it goes. It doesn't sound too calculated. Not that you don't take it serious, but you're like, we're in this for the ride, and however long that lasts, we're here for a good time, maybe not a long time. So does that, those experiences that you have, do they go into future decision making?
They do. And like, So like even the tours we have coming up, like the Boundaries one, for instance, I was mainly excited because like I knew what the rest of the bill was, that it, you know, it had Stick to Your Guns and Gates to Hell on it. And my thought was every one of these bands is like doing their own thing in their respective subgenre. And like I love the idea and the feeling of like a like kind of mixed show like this. And all these bands also rip. So like I think, yeah, that's what we do. Like we do something that kind of helps excite the bill, like even just a little bit more. And or like when we're going to Europe with Malevolence, Speed, and Dying Wish, like all of those bands also doing their own thing in their respective lane. And like the idea of like putting that kind of show together, or being in this case asked to be a part of this kind of lineup, I'm like, yeah, that's what we do, because that feels exciting. You know, there's like, so like even in reference to the Spite and Body Snatcher tour, it's like, yeah, that is something that like for sure makes sense. And like that was a great run. Like we had a great time. The shows were awesome. Um, I do get, whether I'm nervous about it or not, I do get more excited about like something that we're like, this doesn't feel like the playbook. Like this feel like, because it feels like we could very easily just like run the deathcore circuit and play in front of like a bunch of deathcore only crowds, or just something like that, right? Um, so yeah, I don't know. Like again, the band is young, and like I just want to keep things exciting and like do things with like people like that I fuck with. And that means that there kind of isn't a playbook. Like we're down to do it like if we think it's interesting or like we fuck with it.
So this tour runs through August, and then do you have any other plans for the rest of the year?
We're doing that Europe run that is starting towards the end of October and ends early November. We're only going to be there for like 16 days, like pretty short and sweet, about the perfect amount of time you want for being that far away from home for that long. So when I saw that, I was like, this is awesome. But that'll end our year. And we're already looking at 2026 right now. Just a couple different things in the pipeline that we're just like, we've got options here. Like, what do we want to do? And we're figuring those things out. And again, like we just want to do what we think is cool and exciting.
That's what's happening.
That's it.
That's it. That's what
Psycho Frame.
Yes.
Salvation Laughs in the Face of a Grieving Mother, July 25th, SharpTone Records. And we're going to be catching you Saturday, August 2nd at Red Flag in St. Louis.
Yeah.
Boundaries, Stick to Your Guns, Gates to Hell, Psycho Frame. Mike, man, really appreciate your time. We ran you too long. Sorry about that, but really,
Oh, that's fine.
really enjoyed this conversation, man.
Yes. Thank you so much, buddy. We appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you for having me. You guys are cool. And again, I'm Midwest as fuck. I can tell just by talking to you, you guys are Midwest as fuck. Like you're my people. So
There's a lot of
thank you.
there's a lot of opes in our in our vocabulary. Oop.
That's right.
Get that in a St. Louis pit. Oh.
That's right.
All right, brother. We'll see you at Red Flag. All right.
See you soon.
Of course. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.